Welcome, everyone. It is October 20th, 2022. It is a Thursday, and it's also the third day that we're working on Lisa Mincy. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Um, we did a lot of progress yesterday. I thought line art would take less time, but streaming also eats up a little bit of the whole process. So it was around 2.5 hours. Uh, I think we're gonna go a little bit like the approach that we took with Tainari. I was very satisfied with that. The things that I tried with Jean and Amber, I thought they weren't that great. So there's that. What we're gonna do is flat color, then work on our shadows and whatnot, and hopefully it'll work out great for us. So as you can see, I have a slightly different uh, presentation format, right? So I have the navigator like really big on the side, on the left, and I have pretty much everything else on the right side. I think I'm gonna even do this. So the navigator is completely like isolated there. That way, I can uh, be always showing you what I'm doing. You can always see it, but I can zoom in and out whenever I want, and people don't have to like ask um, to see the entire picture. Let me just remap the tablet. There we go. Yeah. So this is the line art. It was a bit ballsy of me to like do the entire line art in a single layer, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna do a folder with things that I'm no longer using. And remove that. Now we're gonna do another folder, color, right? So I think I'm gonna open Tainari just to understand exactly how I went through it, because I'm pretty sure that I made a base color and then a slightly adjusted color. So in the render, there's a lot of stuff here. Okay, so it was multiplied but at 100. That is interesting. I still have like no idea what I'm gonna do for the background. But since she's a librarian, yeah, it's gonna be something of that sort of stuff. Now we're gonna start with the color. I think the first thing that we should do is just make a mask. Mask. Put it outside. Yeah. And like this, we select everything that shouldn't be painted. that way is much easier to just invert the selection. Yeah. Slowly I'm starting to learn a few things that can always expedite the process, which is always good. Let's just select this one, and yeah, that should be everything. So if we invert the selected area, we can just, yeah, just a big brush, doesn't matter. Maybe like a lighter color. I was thinking of getting rid of the chat in the overlay, in the stream overlay, but the thing is, it would make my job harder to edit shorts, because like it's really useful to have the chat in the video. So I think what I might do is just not have that border. I think it's taking a lot of space. We could have a bigger screen. Those rotating triangles are really just placeholders. I'm gonna do something with that corner. Yeah. Yeah, overall it would be better if I could just increase the size of the CSP window on the stream. Okay. So now hopefully exactly it works like that. So what we're gonna do is give the first color, which is like a very bluish purple or purplish blue. Right. Let's see how I'm gonna do this. There we go. And of course, because it has the mask, anytime that we are next to the outside, we can just not be as careful because it doesn't matter. Maybe. So I'm using the line art brush for whatever reason. I think this feels better. Yeah. So again, it's something that takes a few tries to get the right color tone. Even then, it's not completely right, but again, it's a fan art. I like the color, so I'm taking a bit of liberty with it. It's completely fine. Yeah. Over here, the rainy season has come full force. Yesterday it rained the entire night. It's like I like rainy weather, but it also worries me a lot. Oh, hello. Nice meeting you here. Busy man. The marine biologist going to work, driving his car into the sea. In a way, you're Aquaman. You can talk to fish. Hello there. gotta study some fish. In a way, all biologists study fish. Oh man. Stuck. I can talk to fish. I mean, true. And even if they did, I don't know if they would have a lot of interesting things to say. I'm gonna tell you. They would either be completely boring or have the most interesting things to say. There's no in between. Maybe they know where the Megalodon is. I mean, do fish even react to us talking to them? Yeah. That would be interesting to know. Also, what in the fuck? Why do I see like a variance in tone here? Right? I'm not crazy. There's a line here, right? There's like a line right here. Like doing this. Fuck. What? Yeah, there's like a variance in tone. What I'm gonna do is like a pro gamer move instead of like wasting my time on this. So if it's just flat colors, we don't need the rough shading brush anyway. We can use a flat brush. After this stops saving. But it's still there. Is it a problem with the mask? It might be. Fuck it. Just making sure everything is painted well, because it's really bugging me. Like, it's such a small variation. No, it's still there. What in the fuck? Huh. Okay. I can't really solve that, so it is what it is. It is what it is. Moving on. Small brush. We can just hand paint this one. What in the world is happening here? It's like no matter what I do, it doesn't go away. It's not from the display, so. Very curious. Fix that part. Okay, there's also painted. We go here. If you're still there, what have you been up to? We haven't played a lot of games recently, so I have no fucking idea what's been happening. Mechanicus. What is that? I don't know what that is. Oh, Warhammer. That's cool. Warhammer is like such original and weird concepts, like the technology evolved a lot, but religion is also involved with it. I thought it was such an interesting approach, you know, because D&D, at least the way classes, the basic classes are set up, you know, it makes sense to have religion, but in Warhammer, you know, it's weird. But it's really cool. Okay, now we are going to select this part. Of the warp. Yeah, I know very little about the lore of Warhammer. In Warhammer, there's a lot of psychic stuff, so emotionally programmed a lot. Yeah, if you go with that premise, religion will definitely have a hand on that. Yeah, there's so much stuff that I like in, at least now, mainstream media, because I know Warhammer wasn't mainstream until a bit ago. So a lot of factions have religions because there are little gods that are powered by prayers. Yeah, that feels like warlocks in D&D. I think it's warlocks. Is it? Yeah, or wizards. Wizards, warlocks. The one that you need like a deity to pray to. I don't like that class very much. Warlocks, yeah. Wizards are nerds. Yeah, say that to Merlin. Did you see the moves? I love that shorts. almost sure the selection will fuck itself up and I will have to do it all over again. Oh. I mean, if we think about it, Lisa is probably more of a wizard than a warlock. Are you saying Lisa is a nerd? Hmm. Are you insulting Ricardo's waifu? Maybe. It's a trick question. Of course, she's a nerd. She's a librarian. It reminds me of that joke. Is anyone here a doctor? I am. Well, you're a nerd. Imagine. Feels like she has a great personality. Man. Before the meeting, you should touch some grass. Go touch some grass. Go talk to Pear. I think that'll be good. But I will definitely have to redo the face. Jesus Christ, what a train wreck that is. There's gonna be a few characters that are gonna be even better than Lisa in terms of Shrexiness. There's Yelan, which is smoking. Although Lisa is the OG one. Respect the OGs in this house. Put some respect on my name. What am I doing? I got distracted. Just thinking of Fucking yesterday or something. Okay. So there. I might play with color gradients before flat shading. Am I missing purple? I don't think so. No, that is that color. Missing on the hat. Anywhere else? Oh, the gems on the shoes as well. Before I forget. Do this. And here. It's gonna take a while. Complicated section. Also, can you do me a favor? Can you tell me if the music is too loud? Because I was trying to make some clips today, and I noticed I felt like the music was just a bit too loud. And I can't really tell because if I regulate the volume on my headphones, it doesn't change for the stream. So I think it's okay, but on the stream it might be a little bit too loud. Sounds good. Okay. Let's hope you're not deaf. Okay. The appropriate color. I hate that when that happens. Right. Let's go about it in a more efficient way. Let's take care of this, and then we'll take care of the rest. Saving. Right, now we take care of this. I'm gonna make a super effort today to not fall asleep during the afternoon because my sleep schedule has been a little bit fucked. Yeah. I've been sleeping like way too much, and that is not efficient. You cannot spell efficient without fish. Now, some parts here. Yo, people, what's up, gamer? Goddamn. You arrived early today. So, I left the navigator on the left side, so you can always see the entire piece, even if I'm zoomed. Yeah, kind of early, kind of PogChamp. You ask me, what does that mean? I don't know, but everyone uses the word PogChamp, so I gotta include it in my vocabulary. Despite the emote no longer existing, it's Komodo hype now. No worries, no worries. I think this needs to be a little bit lighter for the hat. So we're gonna be like that. It feels okay. Just gotta watch. Oh, I just gotta watch something here. Because I'm pretty sure these are shadows. The shadows cannot possibly be the same color. No, they vary a lot in color. Exactly. I did it localized. Yeah. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. Alright. So those pinkish colors are done. I'm gonna do a pro gamer move here. Very lightly tinted gray, so that it's still cohesive with everything else. But instead of having like 4 gabillion layers, I don't think that many layers are necessary. Plus it becomes really confusing when I need to search where the little lines that usually appear, you know, in which layer they are. So this way it's easier for me. Also in here it's the same color, so I can just already do that. But it's gonna make a very complex shape, so let's get done with this shape for now. Needs to be more. Ooh, that's too much. Yeah, I think this is okay. So, black coloring, just like that. We can put some light later on. Not a problem. Does this work? Let me see. Looking at the navigator here. No, I don't think it does. I think yeah, it would need to be something like this. Oh. I can actually do this. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay, man. Good luck with that meeting. Hopefully everything goes well. Yeah, see you tomorrow, probably, because I know those things take time. Goodbye. But people, yesterday I watched more episodes of Devs. Things are getting pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I think I watched 3 episodes, I think. Um, but I got really confused at a point because I'm still terrible with names. I already know that the bearded guy that is you know, the boss is Forrest, but the blonde woman that is like the dev's boss, I don't remember her name, unfortunately. Because like it's not said very frequently. It's like she was in that um not conference, but like in that class about interpretations of the double slit experiment. Like there was this class about the double slit experiment and the interpretations, like the Copenhagen interpretation, the many worlds, um, the Neumann. It's like a complicated name, but it's the Neumann interpretation, things like that, right? And she was defending the many worlds theory, but her boss, Forrest, does not want the many worlds theory to be implemented in the work, and I started to get a little bit confused because it was like, if you do not want that interpretation, then why hire someone that is so adamant about defending it, you know? And I was really sad because the kid that was working with the audio, made such a huge breakthrough and got fired. That is rough. I got really sad for him. Yeah. Um, what else? It's really interesting. The artistic approach to the many worlds theory was really, really well done. At least with the people, because they can overlay the videos. When it came to the car accident, like the cars felt a little bit janky, you know, but everything else was like really, really good. The two opening sequences with you know, the characters doing a whole bunch of stuff in the same place, that was really neat. And I think it's like a bit of a coincidence that you recommended me that show, right? And it deals with that sort of stuff. And it kind of includes a few topics that I wanted to make stories about. So, yeah. Because there's this one book that is called The Egg that I think is really interesting. I haven't finished it yet, but I know roughly what happens, and the descriptions are really cool. And I wanted to like make a story related to that. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know if I'll have the time to develop that, but that would be pretty much like the type of content that I would like to create for the main channel, right? Like I use streaming to keep myself working in illustration and things like that, but like I want to work in making stories and animating them and things like that. But it's like very daunting for me because I'm at that point where I have a whole bunch of ideas floating in my head, but you know, starting to work on them is the hard part. Putting them into paper, yeah, it's gonna be hard. Sounds like pretty cool. Yeah, yeah. Like at first, I had an idea of like making, because there's a type of content that is really popular on YouTube, which is like story time videos, right? And what I wanted to do was like make story time videos, just telling stories from my life and things like that. And at the end of the video, there would be a sort of epilogue where you would have a little bit of another story, but more how can I say that? Like not storytelling format, you know? Like telling an actual story with actual characters, but just like a little bit every video. I've done a bit of writing to it, but like I don't want to share it. I didn't realize the bracelets had patterns. Oh no. But I have done a little bit of writing for them. It's just that there are some concepts that are a bit hard for my mind to even grasp. Yeah. Okay, we'll have to do like a layer below this one if I want this to work. the ones worth exploring are the most difficult. Usually, yeah. But like, I know that a lot of artists have regrets about using very good ideas in their first projects, because they know later on they can do better, and they feel like they wasted that idea. I've seen like the odd ones out, right? Storytime animator. He regrets using the story that he did in his first video, or in his first Storytime video, because he feels like it's a very good story, but it wasn't well done, right? But it's like, if I regret, or if I fear everything, I'm not gonna get anything done. So I'm sort of in a middle ground right now. There are a few things that I want to take care of, but after that, I think I'll start moving towards that. You could prototype it and avoid releasing it for a while. That is also true. That is also true. I don't know what I'm gonna do, honestly. I have to wait and see. I mean, not wait and see. I have to work and see. But yeah. Like, I even learned how to do a bunch of stuff. There was actually something really cool that I wanted to do. Like, there's the Clip Studio Modeler, right? And what it allows you to do is it allows you to import a 3D model from, 3D software, which I did. And wait. Sorry about that. People got home. But basically, it allows you to import a 3D model, and it opens up a window where you can paint the different faces of the model with the brushes, right? So what I was trying to do was, you know how in the story time type of videos, you have like the horizontal canvas, right? And the characters are like just sitting and talking or wherever. I wanted to do that with my character, but because the 3D models were painted manually, it looks 2D when it's still. But then I would at the very end rotate the entire thing, and you would see that it was actually 3D all along, right? Just to fuck with everyone's heads. That was an idea that I had. It was I don't know. There's like so many incredible ideas that can be had with this sort of stuff. Like, an artist that I like a lot is one that's called Noodle, because he lately switched from hand-drawn animation to just cardboard cutouts, because it makes the video much faster to make, and it's more or less like the same output in terms of storytelling, right? It's really good. It's really good. No worries, no worries. just gonna be here finishing this. I don't know how long I've been streaming for. An hour. Yeah, the rhythm that I'm going is probably gonna be like flat coloring, maybe a few airbrushes just for color gradients, and perhaps flat shading here and there. I would actually like to have like what works best. We could also have this. Nah, this feels weird. The purple feels much better. Yeah, the purple feels much better. Feels a little bit lighter, in my opinion. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna continue. Yeah, the brush was huge. We'll see what we can do later on. I mean, we can even color the line art in specific places, so it doesn't have to be purple everywhere. But I think that might be something that we didn't change from Tighnari that we could improve here. But again, I'm gonna like Mr. Bean it and cover the face and redo it because I'm not very satisfied with the way that it turned out. Maybe the painting will make it better, but still, it's like I didn't achieve the likeness, and I do feel it's a bit jarring for some reason. So, although it's not like too bad, I don't know how to explain it. Let me check this. Just this. Getting this. There's something weird there. Just gonna fix it before I forget about it. Yeah. Alright. Nothing else. Good. Back to the reference at hand. Alright. Do this. Jesus Christ, if I have to draw this symbol for everyone in Mondstadt, I'm gonna lose it. Ugh. So if everything goes correctly, by finishing color or black colors, gradients, not gradient maps, just color gradients for certain places, and flat shading. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have like the finishing rendering touches and the background. The background itself is already daunting enough. So hopefully there might be a good way of dealing with that, because there's a whole book brush in CSP, so that might cut some time for the whole thing. Also, if you're watching this, do not forget that I have a Fiverr page, and like the basic sketches are really cheap. So if you want one, maybe think about it. I think the basic sketches are like $5.50 or $5.50. I don't know why I said it like that, but yeah, $5.50. So really cheap for clean sketches that, you know, from the stream takes a few hours to make. So at least for me, some people might take less, but I am not some people. I am me. All right. Here, this one, let's make it smaller, good. Very good. It's looking very good. For instance, in the stockings, I never tried it, but I have observed this. Like some objects have the shear reflection, where if it's tilted, if the surface is tilted and almost parallel to our line of sight, it becomes lighter because it starts reflecting more light. In the case of the stockings, as it gets more parallel to our line of sight, it starts to get darker because we see more stocking per less area of skin. And when it's like completely perpendicular, it's the opposite, where we see less stocking per skin surface. So in here we see more skin, in here we see more stocking. That was something that I noticed. So I'm thinking that is probably how it works. Hopefully, let's see. There's also gold in the foot, or in the feet, plural. Yeah. me just simplify it like this. I'm not gonna make all of the details exactly. Oh, and of course these pieces are also. Yeah. Oh, that part as well. Am I missing something? I don't think so. That doesn't appear to be golden. Oh, there's one thing that I'm missing, actually. There is one thing that I'm missing that I deemed like useless. It's actually not. It might be this one. I would like to know. Maybe because of this. Yeah, it's that. Welcome back. Just trying to paint a pattern here that I left for later that I almost forgot about. Yeah, as I was saying, like Devs is definitely like an incredible show. Really, really enjoying it. Are there any more patterns? I don't think there are. Oh, the gloves. Okay, I gotta remember patterns in the gloves. Patterns in the gloves. Well, I think, and this is not a problem of the show itself. I think it's more of a limitation of interpretation. Like, I think the average interpretation for quantum phenomena, you know, the whole every time there's a collapse of probability waves, the universe splits in how many possibilities there could have happened, right? I think the whole approach of a tree or a trunk that goes into branches that goes into twigs is a bit limited, right? And I wanted to kind of expand on that concept and go like, it ramificates itself, but then the branches can come back together, sort of thing. Like, I closed the file that I had open, but I can, like, we have a big branch that can, you know, separate itself into how many it wants. But then we would have twigs that would do like this and continue forward, and then we would have more stuff like this, right? This and things like that. And maybe we could have things like this. We could even have like situations like this where they would come together and then divide themselves in different stuff. Because this would be like really interesting to explore. And I actually got that idea from something that happened, which was the quantum eraser experiment. You know, like if we have the information for where the particles are going, we collapse the probability wave and we end up in one of the branches. But if we erase the information, it uncollapses and it goes back into being a probability wave instead of a deterministic thing. It's really weird to think about it, right? Because in the traditional sense, it doesn't make sense. Um, but I think it's very interesting to explore. Because there's a whole other problem, especially with science communication. And I've thought about this, and scientists and mathematicians are often problematic with nomenclature of things, and then they give the general public the wrong idea about a certain concept. For instance, complex numbers are made of real numbers and imaginary numbers. Immediately, if you call a set of numbers imaginary, everyone is gonna think that, you know, they don't exist and we only use them as leverage to complete theorems. But it's like what we call real numbers are just as real as imaginary numbers. Right? And the same thing kind of happens with the double slit experiment, where we say, oh, when it's observed, and we immediately think observed as in someone lays their eyes in the particle. But that's not what we mean. We mean observed as in measured, right? But, you know, a lot of people get the observed thing and start going in philosophical rants, which is, you know, it's fine, but we need to clarify what the words actually mean. It's not observed as in someone laid their eyes on it. It's measured. A machine could observe the result and it would still collapse. Because the problem is not our eyes, is to observe where the particle went, we interact with the particle, therefore we collapse it. So the machine can interact with the particle, but the machine doesn't have eyes, right? That sort of stuff. And yeah, like if we don't clarify that, people will definitely have a wrong idea about it. Because oftentimes, you know, I get tired of seeing this. They use that as an excuse to say that like we're special because, you know, the universe tries to hide its information from us. It's just like, nah, man, things work differently in the small scale. To measure something is to perturb the system that you're measuring. So obviously it's going to change some things. people are smart. There has been a lot of work into the quantum uh, side of physics, where instead of measuring things directly and collapsing the wave entirely, they started measuring it indirectly and obtaining information, like incomplete information, right? They wouldn't get everything right away. And so with incomplete information, you can start to infer qualities of particles that you observe without completely collapsing everything, which is like a very smart way of going around it. Yeah, yeah. Like, people are smart. People are very smart. I'm gonna put this color here. Yeah. It's like it's weird to have these conversations because you know, I studied a little bit of physics. Like not too much though. It was just like first year in college. So, you know, just enough to know how to build a nuclear bomb. Where I get the materials, that's a whole other thing. But, you know, dedicating myself to art but having this type of knowledge definitely feels weird. Uh, that's a bit bluish. I mean, that's not bluish, that's completely blue. Well. Just gonna do it like this because I can't even understand completely. But yeah, gonna do it like that. It's definitely like a very interesting field of study. Whoever came up with like the whole quantum idea was, I mean, technically speaking, I think Einstein proved, I think it was his Nobel Prize actually, he proved that um, electrons had quantized levels of energy. So he was definitely behind it. Maybe not the entire thing, but he was behind it. He was a heavy defender that God doesn't play dice. He didn't like the whole probability thing. He thought everything was discrete. Unfortunately, that appears to not be the case. Another thing that I find funny, like sometimes um, on YouTube Shorts or something like that, there are people that start making a lot of conspiracies about, you know, physics in general. And You can tell that they read a few words, made a few basic assumptions, and thought they contradicted everything. But they don't make like any observations or predictions in the real world, which is basically what determines if you're more correct. Which is another interesting thing, right? If you are absolutely right about something in the world, you will never know that you're right. You can only know if you're wrong. Because if you're wrong, eventually something will tell you that you're wrong. But if you're right, you will have to infinitely prove yourself right. Which is one hell of a concept. And it's like kind of important for press the window key. That's kind of important for people to know, because a lot of people think that science is like the objective study of truth, and it's not. It's an infinite approach to truth, but like if we get there, we don't know, and we just try and prove ourselves wrong over and over, or we don't get there and like get slightly less wrong every time. And depending on who you ask, that is either depressing or really inspiring. I am really low energy today. I don't know what's happening. And the moment I say that, I yawn. Great. Like, it's only been 1 hour and a half. It's not that's not very long. Also, another thing that I noticed about devs is that there's an overarching. English is hard. Overarching. I'm gonna say that. Um, plot or idea, rather, amongst pretty much all of the characters or all of the main characters that I've noticed, and that is like the concept of letting go, right? Jimmy doesn't let go of Lily. Lily, despite seeing that Sergei's death implies a lot of dangerous stuff, she doesn't let it go. Orest doesn't let go from the tragic accident that involved his family, right? And like all these characters with all of their respective stories have this underlying theme of not letting go, not finishing the mourning process, right? And they're all being eaten alive pretty much by the remaining feelings of it all. I mean, granted, Lily's arc is very recent, so it would be hard to let it go. But once you enter a situation like hers, I don't know if I would be able to continue digging deeper. As much as I would want the truth, you know? And that also makes Forrest very hypocritical because he also talks about letting go with Lily, but obviously he doesn't, right? He's so far opposite from that concept that he's trying to see his daughter again, at least his daughter, if not his wife. I don't know if the wife survived or not. I'm guessing not. But yeah, I noticed that that whole thing was pretty interesting. Start to gain some shape. Good stuff. Yeah, I've been thinking about a lot of these concepts. I think they would make for great stories. You know, I love stories that use, like, turn certain physical concepts that we're used to on their head, so that they can change our perception, like causality, right? I actually haven't seen the movie, but I know that Tenet deals with that. So, you know, that's a cool idea. Interstellar also deals with that. Have you seen Primer? No, I don't think so. Primer. Uh, TV series, maybe? Cult classic about time travel. I mean, cult classic. Is it just called Primer? Because I'm having a little bit of trouble finding it. Because I found Primer TV series on IMDb, but it's from 2018. So from 2018, I wouldn't call it cult classic. So I might be looking at the wrong thing. Search IMDb. Primer. There's a PIM Primer, Primer Impacto, Pizzagate Primer. For friends, fledgling entrepreneurs, knowing that there's something bigger and more innovative, wrestle over their new invention. Okay, I was looking at it now. I had to search on IMDb, but yeah, I was looking at it now. What happened? Yeah, being a movie and all, it's even easier to watch. I mean, I might watch it after the. I might watch it after the stream, I guess. I'm even gonna leave it open so that I'm not having something to watch while I lunch. Infamous for being too convoluted to exactly follow the timeline of first viewing. Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing about like time travel, right? It's supposed to be complicated if you're watching from the outside, right? If you're watching it from the inside, from the protagonist's perspective, it's gonna be really easy to follow because it makes sense for the protagonist, right? The protagonist, something happens. The protagonist either needs to go to the future or to the past, and you follow it, right? It's a bit like Back to the Future, right? In that show, there's a lot of time travel, but you don't get confused because you're always accompanying the protagonists, right? So you know why things are happening while they're happening. So you don't have a chronological order because it doesn't make sense to have chronological order in a time traveling story. but you do have a causal order. So there's still an order. But if you're watching from the outside, the chronological order will not make any sense, right? So I don't mind if Primer doesn't make sense in a first viewing. I can watch it again. It's only like what? It said here an hour and 17 minutes. It's not very long, really. So I think I'm missing a lot of stuff here. And besides, it's like convoluted movies sometimes are proof that there's an artistic intent behind them, right? And it's like, at least this is my opinion as an artist. Sometimes pieces require effort from the viewer to understand, right? And I think the viewer shouldn't be frustrated if that's the case. It's not like the creators being all artsy fartsy about it, is that they were trying something different. And so sometimes you do need a little bit of mental gymnastics in order to understand what is happening. It's not being snobby or anything like that. It's just the way it is. Because we need to accustom ourselves to what's different in order to become normal. So there's always that first shock. And so we need to use like the two neurons that we have in order to sort of understand it. It's like this sort of phenomenon is more the sort of phenomenon where we have to, you know, put some effort into viewing a piece, whether it's art or something else. It's actually more common than people think. For instance, there's a thing in impressionistic art that is called Constable Snow. I think that's the name. Constable Snow. And it's a very, very simple concept. So we have. You're gonna have to ignore my skills here. I'm not used to painting like water, so whatever. Right. But it's like you have water, right? Water, maybe a little bit lighter here, whatever. Right, have water. And Constable Snow was a concept that was introduced in impressionistic painting. There was just those small highlights on the water, right? That we are kind of used to see in painting nowadays. But before impressionistic painting, it was actually not that used because people couldn't actually see it. It was a thing that was filtered from their brain, even though you can't see it in real life, right? And that's like part of this effort that we need to make in order to understand what we're seeing, you know, understand all that good stuff. And it brings up a whole bunch of problems, honestly. I wrote it's not a paper, but I wrote an essay on or in college about how the daily life of people is very against the consumption of hard art or art that is hard to get because people are tired and so people want art that engages them automatically instead of the viewer having to engage in the art, which is a problem, right? It makes for very cookie cutter stuff. There's nothing wrong with, you know, formulaic art, but it just means that artists that try and explore, because there's always like the vanguards, right? They kind of become isolated, and so you have this world of vanguard that nobody gets, and you have the world that everyone consumes. Like, surprisingly enough, a movie that did time travel like really well was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, right? It is surprisingly solid for the series that it is. There's obviously the problem of if you have a device that can take you to the past, why not use it to solve all of the problems? And that I think just J.K. Rowling didn't think about that. Um, like everything is so well written about it. You know, it works so well once you realize exactly what is happening. It's very surprising. But it's that kind of excitement that time traveling movies give you, you know? I'm sure, like, when I see Primer and eventually figure out what is happening, because I can almost guarantee I'm not going to understand what's happening in the first view. But once I get it, it's going to be a really good feeling. I think I'm going to add a new layer here just to make it easy for me. But yeah. After I finish Devs, I think I'm gonna watch Severance. I think it was what you said. Because if it's as good as Devs, then you know, very good shows to watch. They completely flew under my radar. Higher than Devs. Honestly, thank God, because Devs is really heavy. Like, you can see that a lot of passion went into it, but Devs is really dark. Jesus. Interesting in a different way. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I have faith in your tastes. What am I missing? I'm missing skin. I'm missing the rock here. Just gonna do this. And, but in devs, like, despite Forrest being a complete douchebag to the kid whose name I forgot. Again, me being great with names. He was absolutely right when he said that what we heard was a Jesus, but it wasn't necessarily our Jesus. And that could become a problem, right? Because it meant that, yes, the fuzziness is smaller in the predictions, but if you start to use that slight difference as an iteration and start to predict backwards, it starts to make a lot of problems. Like, it's again, it's still exponential. It's just that it doesn't grow as fast in terms of problems, but it's still a problem. Yeah, exactly. He just didn't had to be such an ass, I guess. But I do get that like, to do what they were doing, yeah, you're really crunching a lot of numbers. You're There's a lot of computing power there. So yeah. Like, honestly, not even joking. If they just use that system to predict weather events, which is like a lot easier than what they're trying to do, they would have made a shit ton of money. Not even joking. Not only would they make a shit ton of money, but they would also save a lot of money to a lot of people. So, like, imagine being able to predict the weather in 20 years. You could actually prove whether or not global warming was a real thing, which I believe it is. You know, there are people, they are very adamant in skewing data and observations towards their confirmation bias. It's like you could simply look at the raw data and observe that it's actually increasing, right? And catastrophes, everything like that. It's, you know, there's a lot of proof for and not a lot against, right? So it would at least be wise to take some precautionary measures. But you know, humanity is not used to deal with a problem that reaches a point of no return. So that might be a first and probably last. That may be our great filter, honestly. Which is a bit sad. Oh, and that scene where they said like, oh, Instagram makes you feel shitty about yourself. Twitter makes you feel riled up, and Facebook destroyed democracy. I, man, like I identified so much with that. Also, let me just check. When did devs come out? "2020." So it was. So it probably was written in 2019 or prior. That is actually impressive because, with the whole thing that happened in the US with Capitol stuff in the beginning of the year, right? It's prophetic. Oh, smaller brush here. Not only that, like the misinformation, like it's not only the United States. Like I've also been accompanying things that are happening in Brazil because there's a lot of Brazilian people in Portugal. So we also have a lot of news from there. And it's like their president, it's pretty much a Brazilian carbon copy of Trump. And there was a lot of misinformation spread on Facebook. So it's like it's scary how one point that sentence in the devs show was on point. Yeah, Bolsonaro. Like that man is unhinged. And since he got to power, like people have been fleeing Brazil by the thousands, by the tens of thousands. Like Portugal is a country with around 11 million people. I think we have like 200,000 Brazilians. They have really been running 300,000. The recent estimates, 300,000. So that's roughly 3% or one in every 33 people came from Brazil. It's like it's really scary. Not for Portugal, but for Brazil. Like Jesus Christ. Having a president that can do that. It's really funny. Like it's you can see how much the Brazilian community is growing because nowadays, if there's like an interview on live television and they ask someone, there's a very high chance that you will actually find a Brazilian person on the street, right? Uh, and like on TV, there are appearing more and more Brazilian journalists and things like that. It's like it's really interesting to see how things are evolving. And of course, like there's always the xenophobic comments and racist comments, which are unfortunate. Yeah, yeah, politics is very, very polarizing. It's like they're almost treating it like football clubs, right? Where you pledge your loyalty to a candidate or you pledge your loyalty to a party. It's like it doesn't work like that. We need to listen to what they're saying, right? What happens if of all the candidates, none of them are saying, uh, or none of them are posing good solutions to what we think are the country's problems, right? You're not just gonna vote on someone because you are loyal to them. That's not how it fucking works. Right? And it's yeah, democracy. I have like okay, this is a area of conspiracy theories, so take it with a grain of salt. But I think governments in general don't want the people to be very educated, because if the people are educated, then they will be able to see the bullshit behind politicians' speeches. Like, there's a thing going on here where I think it has already been approved all the way until ninth grade. So in here, the education system is from first to 12th grade, right? 12 years of mandatory education. And all the way until ninth grade, you cannot fail a year anymore. I think the only way you can fail a year is if you don't show up to class, right? A certain amount of times. Other than that, I think even if you are completely mediocre in class and have like straight zeros on the test, you cannot fail. And that like boosts numbers, it helps with funding, but it just shows that the quality of education is not really that important. What matters is like numbers to show off. And like, imagine you pass ninth grade in here. High school begins in 10th grade, right? From 10th to 12th. And that's when you start to differentiate your studies. Like, you have, until ninth grade, you have a bit of everything. And starting on 10th grade, you start to be able to like differentiate into sciences and languages and things like that, arts and other stuff. If you passed ninth grade and everything before it, automatically you're going to reach high school and you're not going to be able to do anything, right? You're not, if you're in sciences, you're not going to know what a quadratic formula is because you don't even know what a function is, right? You don't even know what a variable is. You can't even read graphs, right? That's a huge problem. I don't know how that idea passed, honestly. Because there's also this idea that failing a year is a bad thing. It isn't. The bad thing is passing the year without having the knowledge to pass the year. That is the bad thing. Because you're just straight up lying. You don't have the knowledge to pass the year, right? And it baffles me how people think it's a good thing. Reminds me of how lenient my uni was. Yeah, some schools are very lenient. It's like, what the fuck? I actually have a very interesting story about this. about why, not why, about how schools are so lenient. In my first year of college, I had, I don't think anything lower than like 75% mark, final mark should be passable. 75%, three quarters. I think I think 75% is acceptable if the teachers are scrutinized. Because I know there's a lot of bullshit teachers that just refuse to give like above 90% or grade in a curve. That is like shitty. There's some that auto scale. Yeah, yeah. It's like they have to be scrutinized in the way they work because a lot of them like to do whatever they want. They shouldn't do that. It should always be predictable, those sorts of stuff. But basically, in my first year of college, I was in physical engineering, right? And I had um, a unit that was general chemistry, and it had a theoretical component and it had a practical component in the lab. And most units have a minimum passing grade. It was like just to make sure that you don't skip the exams or something. It's like minimum passing grade. It's usually like 9.5. Some were like even 7 or something, right? Out of 20. And I kid you not, that one didn't have it. So what ended up happening was in the theory, so in the exam, I was going through a very rough time, right? And studying wasn't doing much. I had a 3 out of 20 in the theoretical exam. Like I could barely study and retain information. I forgot a lot of, about a lot of stuff, even basic stuff. I got a 3 out of 20 in the exam. But to compensate, in the lab, I got a 20 out of 20, right? I got a perfect grade. So the average allowed me to actually pass the unit. That was like the clutchest moment. It's like I'm not proud of it, but at the same time, it was a 20 out of 20 in lab. It was definitely a weird moment. It was a people weird moment. Yeah. But yeah, 75 is like it's a good grade for the student to demonstrate that they know about it. They might not be necessarily perfect at it, but they know what they're talking about. 50%, I think it's a little bit too low. But yeah, 75 seems like the sweet spot. Hmm. Looking really weird. I might have to work on this. This thing that I say about faces, man. I hate this. Fuck's sake. I hate it with every ounce of my being. Terrible. Gotta. Oh, dude, yeah, this is super difficult. Holy shit. Maybe. Maybe it's the thief. It's like, definitely not helping me. Because, man, I got it in a tricky angle. I think I'm just gonna do gradients and I'm gonna leave the shading and the rendering for tomorrow. I don't know why I'm feeling like really tired. But it's still gonna take a little bit because I gotta, you know, fix the mouth and then do the gradients. Like a lot of things have color variation. But not to worry, I will search reference. Because there's no need in me trying to reinvent the wheel. Yeah, I was trying to draw something like that. I'm gonna do a new layer just to... Oh, shit. Alright. I'm gonna put it here. Whatever. Like, it would be... Lil. I mean, far away, it looks decent. It's just when I zoom in, it looks really weird. Yeah. Let me just it's just the open smile, it can be a little bit tricky. So maybe I'll just leave her with the simple one. Yeah, It was a great reference that he sent. How does it look there? Oh, the top one looks so weird though. Can I get away with some? The lips on the right between the colored ones. The lips on the right between the colored ones. Yeah, yeah. I used to like go for a very formulaic approach about this a few years ago. I think this works. It's just that because I haven't painted it yet. Right. I'm gonna have to make them like not as strong, but I think it's the way to go. Making here pro game remove. Oh, pro game remove. So it's closer to the skin tone. I might have to. Sheesh. Like make even closer. I can add a little bit of a reddish tint later. Also, usually the upper lip is a bit darker, but for sake. You know what this is? This is me drawing realistically for so long that making lips like this is hard. Which is ironic because I started with stylized lips and then eventually went to study seriously realism and oh yeah, these look really nice. Yeah. Like I can still see the principles in the stylized lips. But that's because I studied the realism first, right? Before that, it wasn't like I could understand it. Before that, I looked at stylized lips and made a formula to know how to draw them without really understanding what was happening. I think stylization is like a conscious process of just making decisions over and over and over again. You know, just the way that you know, I did this one and I really enjoyed this one, so I'm making like a very similar process on this one. Like I'm not gonna change a lot. The only things that I'm really gonna change are like I'm gonna pay a little bit more attention to the color of the line art, because Tighnari has always the same color. And that's about it. Like small changes. It's like 55 characters in Genshin. By the end, I'm sure I'll be more satisfied with the whole thing. Either way. And I think that I'm like really proud of here is that I'm working for the sake of improving. Like sure, I advertise my Fiverr and things like that. And you know, making money would be nice. But I'm doing it to improve, and that's good. That's good. Not getting too obsessed with making money, because some people are, and that's exactly how they get stuck in not only their progress, right, but also they start to consider things that I think are kind of blasphemous, like making entire artworks just with AI. Like, don't do that. You can use AI to test ideas. You know, that's what AI is there for. But don't make entire artworks with just that. You need to make some adjustments. Have you seen what AI does to fingers? Because usually the hands are outside of the focal point of the artwork. It doesn't focus too much on the hands, so the fingers look like sausages. Right? You can see already what happens. The AI does not fully understand why things on the periphery are blurred. Right? That's why it's always necessary for an artist's eye to see those things. That's why even AI people need to train their eye. Or else it won't matter. Simple as that. But by the way, I don't know what I'm doing with the eyes. Just saying. Just kind of doing what I feel like. Huh. I just noticed a problem here. Oh no. I gotta push this a bit to the side or else she's gonna look really cross-eyed. Does it look okay? But now I gotta adjust this one. more I touch it, the harder it gets to correct it. Yeah, I better not. Better not be win. I think this is okay. Yeah, this is okay. Later on, we're gonna have the magic of airbrushes. Maybe. I don't know. We're gonna have the magic of airbrushes. We're gonna have the magic of layer modes and gradients and things like that. So worrying about this kind of stuff, I just don't want to make her cross-eyed. So eyes, we need hair, obviously, obviously. So it's gonna stay above. I mean, we already colored skin pretty well, so gonna make color like that. So yeah, boy, yeah. Hair is colored. Let's go. When everything is done correctly. Ah. Okay. Hair. Now. Color gradients. In the hair, there isn't any. I don't know if there's any character that has. I mean, Tighnari has, right? Tighnari has gradient. Yeah. Dark and then greenish. But Lisa doesn't. Thank God. The head doesn't have, but this does. This does have a bit of a gradient to it. So, I think what I'm gonna do is collapse these layers. Yeah. To make it easier for me now. Because now it can be like this. Oh, by the way, I didn't ask, but like, how are things in terms of weather around there? Because you said it's gonna be tough today. No floods? Thank goodness. Just things are getting dangerous now. Rain earlier in the day, but oh, okay. Okay. Thank goodness. Storm forecast for next 4 days. Yeah. Just be safe out there. That has a bit of a color thing. What else has a color thing? I think these things as well. Bit of one piece. Show me. I demand you show me. It's a bit strong. Oh, because the density is too high. Obviously. Doi. Gonna do like this. Oh, attachments. It's really nice. Did you use I don't have that tool in CSP. It's like a selection tool that once you encase a certain area, it paints. Because it looks like that. Lasso fill. Yeah. I don't think I have that in CSP, right? Yeah. A friend of mine started like studying drawing with this, and it was really interesting how he had to do like a really complex thing to make a line. It was interesting. Yeah. And with opacity too. My friend used high contrast, so it was only like black and white and maybe a few grays, but not with opacity. There might be a lasso fill if you... I mean, with a lasso you might be able to modify it, perhaps. No. No. There might be a tool... Oh, lasso fill might be in the fill. Enclose and fill, maybe. No? Okay, it has to be with already painted pixels. But... I mean, I'm sure if I went to the Clip Studio asset store, I would be able to find it regardless. What is this? That's just the drawing. Yeah, I can put it there. Smart fill one. Because these are just two fills that either ignore or use the layers. And close and fill is like wherever something is already painted, it takes that into consideration. Like it takes every layer below into consideration. Like if I do like this, it doesn't take the line art, but if I go there, it already takes into consideration the line art. There's also... There is no infilled area, so... What I was thinking about? Right. Right, so here there should be... Oh, first, before I forget, we're gonna do... just a smidge, give some color. I should have actually selected the area that I wanted to color. Just a smidge, too much. A smidge of color, yeah. Oh, not D. Control D. Right. And here as well. Now in the legs. And yeah. Now, we can use the color, that color, on the stockings. So what I said before is like, when the surface is perpendicular, right? I said this before. When the surface is perpendicular to us, or to our line of sight, is when less light of the object is reflected. That alone already makes quite a difference, but eventually we're going to add the density of the stockings. Like, you've been studying realism. Do you know what the shear effect is on light? Nothing about clothes. It doesn't need to be about clothes. It's just about lighting. Okay. It's a very interesting thing. The rim light is the more extreme type of shear. But as long as an object is tilted, it becomes lighter, right? The thing is, with the stockings, it's the opposite, right? So, gotta use red. With the stockings, what's gonna happen is, let's imagine we have, this is very bold. If we have the cube, right? What's gonna happen is, because this is more parallel to our line of sight, it's gonna reflect more of the light, right? Because it has a critical angle. That's pretty much how light behaves. Like, if you have light hitting it like this, part of it will enter. But if you have light hitting it like this, everything of the light is going to be reflected. So if it's very parallel to our line of sight, is going to reflect most of the light. And so this, even though it's facing, Fresnel. Yeah. But the thing is, with the stockings, it's different. Because what's happening is, if you have a, let's say, smaller cube inside, so this would represent the skin, right? You are seeing more stocking per less, it's hard to explain. Like, it's better to observe here. Like, in here, there's more stocking than area of skin. So there's less mix of both colors. And so the stocking appears to be more dense, right? But in here it's the opposite. There's less than here, and so we can see more of the skin, right? And because stocking is not a very reflective material, rim light wouldn't necessarily be useful here. Maybe in a very stylized thing. Once I put shadows and everything, it's gonna look better. But looking up versus looking closer to horizon, yes. This concept is very helpful. Just gonna do a few things to make it look as if it has like a pattern or something. No, that won't work. Fuck it, I will draw it by hand. Also, what the fuck is that? Oh, it's the copy layer. Jesus. Yeah, these things are sometimes useful to know. The Fresnel thing. Yeah, that's not too bad, I guess. Looks a little bit made up, but honestly, all shapes are made up. Yeah, this works. Fuck it. What else? I think this also has a sort of transition. That it becomes a little bit bluish. This. Hey, what the fuck? Less tolerance, please. Less tolerance. A little bit more. There we go. It becomes bluish. Yeah. Here as well. And it starts to become black on the very edge. What else? Also here, I think. Pretty much the same concept. As it faces away, we see more of the fabric per area. So it gives that effect. Here as well. Okay, I don't think anything else like varies. Let me just check. I don't think so. It seems imbalanced. I guess. Like, she has a really weird hat. Right? Graphically. What do you mean? Tell me. The hat seems unbalanced. Compared to the head. It's like it's floating above her head. Yeah, you want to see something? Yeah, this is the hat. Right? Like, It's it's weird. It's weird. I like the upper left one better. Wait, this one. This one, are you? Or this one? First or second? The rightmost one in that upper left. This one. Or you kind of lost me. But yeah, like the hat itself is really weird because on this one it also looks like it's floating, right? Like in game it looks a little bit better, but still it's like it's a huge hat. So I kind of went with the references really. It doesn't in the third one. Yeah. Like if I showed this, right? You can see that it's like it barely touches the head. No. It's really weird. And I even like made it a little bit smaller too. Smaller in the sense of like uh, this part. Forgot the name. But this part right here, I made it slightly smaller. So need to layer the hand under the hat. True. True. I think I said that in last stream. Fuck. Yeah, I said that last stream. I would fuck it up. Yeah, well, it is what it is, honestly. Lazy. I am lazy. Bigger, please. Maybe I can at least this part. Because that's like an egregious error if I let it in. Not on my watch. Better yet, not on your watch. Because I didn't even notice. I'm blind. I'm legally blind. Yeah. Yeah, I think I said it last stream that I was like, I'm gonna leave it for next stream. I'm gonna fix it then, and I completely forgot. I went in with the color, and yeah, now I had to do that. Mistakes were made, I guess. Yeah. I mean, for coloring, it's not bad. I think it's pretty decent. So next stream, we're gonna dedicate ourselves to shading, rendering, and if possible, making a background, which I don't know about that. The fun stuff. Yeah, the fun stuff. Oh boy, I'm gonna lose years of my life next stream. Does she have a weapon? I think she's a mage that just uses a book. Like, let me search. Let me search. I am very ignorant when it comes to Genshin. Lisa Mincy weapon. She might have a weapon. I don't know. Best weapons for Lisa. So I'm guessing she can use best weapons. A book. A book. A ring. A book. Another book. Another book. A sort of amulet. Another amulet. A book. And a book. In the background. Yeah. I'm gonna give her a bookshelf. I actually already talked about that. Let me just see. There's even a book thing. I don't know why it's so slow right now. Book. See? It's book. Book. AI generate a bookshelf. Let's go, dude. That would actually not be a bad idea. Like, AI generate a background, like generic stuff. Blur it. Because it's not the focus. The focus is the character. But I kind of feel bad because I know that the AI will analyze work of artists that didn't consent for their work to be used that way. And that's not cool, you know? We are cool people. Yeah, I would have to find free stuff. Like, we are cool people in this chat, right? We don't do illegalities like those, at least. Yeah. No. We are very legal. I mean, I can legitimately say I paid for Clip Studio Paint EX, right? It is expensive, but I did pay for it. Now, other stuff that I might have on my computer, like WinRAR that I've been using for years, that's like the tamest example of piracy. It's like, oh, would you like to buy the program? No. That would be like the next level of flex, is saying that you actually bought WinRAR. Yes. Well, I think it's time for me to end it today. That sounded very ominous. It's time for me to end the stream, I mean. So tired. I want to thank everyone that joined today. People, you were amazing company. Hopefully nothing happens today and you are safe and sound. Be safe. And I want to thank everyone that might be watching the VODs. You don't go unnoticed. And yeah, tomorrow there will be more at the exact same time, 9 a.m. GMT +1. Another 3 hours of chill content, if you can even call it that. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.